So today you are going to learn about solubility of gas and liquid. We have completed one part of solubility, that is solubility of solid in liquid. Okay, yesterday I have completed that. You have seen what happens when you take different solute and the solvent. You have seen the effect of temperature and you have seen the effect of pressure. Okay, so we are going to discuss now. In today's class, you'll be learning more about solubility of gas and liquid. Okay, this is little more important because here you have certain laws coming. Okay, law is important, and then the application part is also there. So this topic you have to concentrate little more. Okay, so let us begin with first one, that is effect of pressure. Okay, this I had just started yesterday. So I told you, if you take a container, you have a solvent here. Okay, and you are taking the gas above the solvent. Okay, so here is a gas, particles which are present at low pressure, like you are just applying a pressure, it's not very high. Little amount of pressure has been applied from the above side onto the piston. Okay, so then this piston will go down. So these gas molecules, since there is large amount of space which is present and they are compressible, so certain amount of gas molecules will go into the solvent and form a solution. So the number of molecules which will go will be very less. Okay, less number of molecules will get dissolved. Okay, and how long it will go? Till they attain equilibrium. Okay, because you know it's a closed container. So when you have a closed container, there is no chances that gas molecule will escape out. So whatever gases are there, when you apply a pressure, no, these gas molecules will go inside. Okay. To a certain time, when you are applying pressure, the reaction will go in a forward direction. But one time will come where you will see that there is no change in the level. Okay. An equilibrium will be established at that time. And then afterwards, suppose you are increasing the pressure now. Okay. Higher pressure. Again, when you are increasing the pressure, beginning you will see these gas molecules, because they are coming closer by, so more number of gas molecules will go into the solution. Okay, here, so more number of molecules will go, and then once enough have gone there, then they will reach a saturation point. Okay, then whatever gas molecule has gone inside, they will start coming out. Okay, then again an equilibrium will be established. So at higher pressure, we can say more number of molecules will get dissolved. Okay, so generally, how can we conclude? Whenever you are applying pressure, low or high, whenever you are applying pressure, you can see that the solubility of the gas is increasing, correct? So that is the law which has been put forward. Okay, so solubility of the gas in the liquid is found to be directly proportional to the pressure of the gas. You apply more pressure, more number of gas molecules will start getting dissolved. So if you have one liquid, only one gas will be like, if you have one gas above the liquid, only one gas can get dissolved over there. But if you have two gases, then we don't call them as pressure, because two gases will exert, both of them will exert a pressure, then it is called as partial pressure. So here that partial word which we are using, that's because of two gases. If they are present, then both of them will exert a pressure. Okay, it's not only because of one. So a partial word has to be used. Okay, so till here I believe you have understood whatever we have done yesterday. So this was the Henry law. I said this is one way to state it. Okay, there is another way also. Okay, see the next one. Now in this container, I have taken two gases. Okay, you can see here. The green ones are there and the blue ones. So two gases we have taken here. Okay, so imagine the green ones are there. No, these green 5 moles of green gases are present, and then the blue ones are of 3 moles. Okay, so I have 5 moles of this green color ones. Okay, particles which are there, they are 5 moles, and then I have 3 moles of this. Now the next thing is, we know because both of them are gases, both of them will exert a pressure. Now the question comes, who will exert more pressure over here? Okay, what do you think? Which gas will exert more pressure here? So we have 5 moles of this and 3 moles of this. You can even calculate and find out. Yeah, see, if you are going to calculate, you can calculate the mole fraction. No? So if I have to calculate here the mole fraction, this will be 5. Okay, and the whole amount of the gases which are present, it is 5 plus 3, that is 8. So this green color, what you are going to get will be 5 by 8, and the blue ones you are going to get will be 3 by 8. Okay, so 5 by 8, if you divide and check, if you see properly, okay, out of fraction you will get 0.6 2 something, 25 something, correct, no? So around 62%, if I have to tell you in terms of percentage, so 62% will be this. Remaining is what now? Remaining is around 38, correct, no? Yes, so that remaining will be of this. So now with this only you can understand, no, percentage, who will be exerting more, because green ones, very good, okay, I've got that answer. So here green ones, because the number of moles are in a larger quantity, okay, so the one who are there in larger quantity, they will be exerting large number of pressure, okay. So we can define this in another way also. When you have two gases present, the partial pressure which is there, no, of one gas will be directly proportional to the mole fraction. So if the mole fraction is larger, remember the partial pressure which is exerted by that gas, that also will be higher. I hope you are able to understand this. I said if you have two gases present, okay, imagine one is of 5 moles and the other one is of 3 moles, okay, and then you are calculating who will be exerting more pressure, okay. So here I have 5 moles of green color gases which I have taken here, and then we have 3 moles of this blue, okay. So if you calculate of one gas here 5 moles out of the total moles, okay, so 5 divided by 8, we are getting this much percentage, okay, 62. Remaining whatever is there, that will be of blue color particles, okay. So with this you understand that the one who are there present in the larger quantity, okay, which has large number of moles, they will be exerting more pressure, okay. So we can state this in another way also, okay. This Henry's law can also be stated that partial pressure of the gas in vapor phase is directly proportional to the mole fraction of the gas in the solution. Means the one which are having more mole fraction, they will be exerting more pressure, okay. So that is what it means here. So we can write it down in the form of equation. P is directly proportional to X. Okay, so here P stands for the partial pressure of that gas which are present above the surface. So here and directly proportional to the mole fraction of the gas. Okay, you can remove this proportionality sign. Every time we remove the proportionality sign by putting a constant. So we write P is equal to KH. Okay, H stands for here Henry's constant. So H is being used. So KH is the Henry's law constant. And remember this KH value is there, no? That will be different, okay? It depends. It depends on what type of gas you have taken, what kind of solvent you are going to take. This gas gets dissolved in which kind of a solvent, and it also depends on the temperature, okay? So it depends on all these three factors. So it will change. It is not a correct answer for every situation. As you change the different kind of solute, solvent and temperature, this KH value also changes, okay. So you can write down, students, Henry's law. You can even explain these terms, okay. P is here stands for the partial pressure, okay. I'll write here P stands for partial pressure of the gas, and X stands for the mole fraction. KH anyways, it is Henry's law constant. Done, no? Okay. Yes. So now see about the unit. If you have to talk about the unit for KH, this KH, what unit they will have. So you know here equation is like this. P is equal to KH into X. Mole fraction doesn't have any unit. So whatever unit is given to the pressure, no? In case in the problem, if they give you whatever unit for the pressure, same unit will be there for the KH also. Okay, because mole fraction, you know, it's a unitless quantity. Okay. Now next one. Next, when you plot a graph of this, okay, it is just to check whether this particular Henry's law is valid or not. Okay, so when they did experimentally they had done with the HCl and cyclohexane. Okay, you have in your textbook in NCERT, they have given this one. So when cyclohexane is taken as a solvent and HCl is the solute which is dissolved into that. Okay, so they just wanted to check whether this particular equation is valid. See, this is how the equation is: P is equal to KH into X. Okay, so what kind of a graph you are supposed to get when you plot the graph for this particular equation? See, if I take on the y-axis, if I take this partial pressure of the gas, that is HCl we are taking, okay, and dissolving in cyclohexane. So mole fraction will come over here. Okay, mole fraction comes on this side, X value will come here, and P value will come on the y-axis. Okay, so if you see this equation is similar to your straight line equation, correct? No, you know how the straight line equation is. Straight line equation is y is equal to mx, correct? No, plus c. Yes, so you have y is equal to mx plus c. Yes, correct. Okay, c is a, yeah, that is the equation. So here now this equation is almost similar. No, y is equal to mx. So here when you divide, okay, m I will take because it's a slope part. So when you divide y by x, you should get a straight line. Okay, that is what how you check the validity of a particular equation. So when they have plotted this, see, this is how they got the graph. Okay, so that means this particular law, what they have done, it's valid for the given condition. Okay, so here you can see HCl when it was dissolved in cyclohexane, they got this kind of a graph. Every point you can see here, okay, at different pressure when they had done it, you can see at different points you are getting the value. Okay, so when this lines were joined together, like when these points were joined together, you can see you get a straight line. Okay, so this straight line is the slope part. Okay, this is the slope part which is equal to y by x. That itself is this value, okay, KH value. So when you divide now here, y is the partial pressure divided by x is the mole fraction. So I am taking that as x itself. So when you divide these two, you will get that KH, okay, that is the slope. So every time they have got that constant answer, okay, for different pressure when it was done. So it's a validity for this particular law, okay. It is just checking out whether this law is applicable or not, okay. So it has been proved, it is correct. Okay, now after this, when different values are given to you, okay, when different KH values are given to you, you should be able to tell about the solubility part of it. Okay, so here you can see I have taken helium. Helium at a temperature of 293 Kelvin. This much is the KH value. Okay, so this is the KH value, and for hydrogen, same temperature, it is 293 Kelvin. You can see the value has come little less. And nitrogen, if you see 293 Kelvin itself, you can see still it has decreased. So what does this value indicate? You should be able to interpret with this value. Okay, in the exam also they can give you different values of KH will be given, and they will say that these are the gases having this value, which will be having higher solubility. So remember this point, students. Greater the value of KH, okay, always lower is the solubility. Greater the value of KH, lower is the solubility because of this equation. Okay, this is how your equation is. P is equal to KH into X. So if I have to write in terms of X, that is mole fraction, then I will be getting P divided by KH. See how mole fraction and KH is related to each other. How are they related to each other? They are inversely related to each other, correct? Inverse relation means if I have higher mole fraction, okay, means higher is the solubility, lower will be the KH value. Okay, higher the solubility, mole fraction means more the number of mole fraction. I have told you more is the solubility. Okay, so here remember, if you have higher value of the mole fraction, lower will be its solubility. Okay, and if you get higher value of KH, that means the solubility of that gas will be less. Remember, okay, higher value of KH, lower will be the solubility. Lower is a value of KH, higher will be the solubility. Opposite, vice versa. Okay, it goes in that fashion. So you have to remember this equation. This relationship, if you are able to get, then you will be able to give the answer for it. So now here helium is more soluble or less soluble. So by seeing this value, you can understand that it is having higher KH value. That means helium in a particular solvent. Okay, this is for water they have given. Water is taken as a solvent. So you can understand if they have higher KH value, that means helium is less soluble. Compared to helium, hydrogen is little more soluble. Okay, compared to hydrogen, nitrogen is still more soluble. Now see, same temperature, I have taken oxygen also here, 293 Kelvin. You can see oxygen is still more soluble than compared to all the other gases. Okay, because the value of KH is less here. So lesser the KH value, higher is the solubility. Okay, because they are inversely related to each other. So opposite you need to keep in mind. So I want you to write this point. Okay, below the law you have written, no, write down as a note. Greater the KH value, lower is the solubility. Okay, because of this relationship. Because solubility is inversely proportional to KH. See, listen, you don't have to write this table also. Okay, this table I just gave you to interpret the values. They will not ask you the values. Okay, don't worry about that. No, we are talking about solubility here. See, you are asking related to P is equal to KH by X. No, see here, we got to know when more is the mole fraction. Okay, the gas which has mole fraction, they will exert more pressure. So they will be directly related to each other. No, mole fraction and pressure are directly related to each other. But now we are talking about KH and X. How are they related to each other? So when I write in terms of mole fraction, I will get pressure divided by KH. Okay. So here X defines the solubility part. So KH is inversely related to this, no, solubility. With pressure and solubility, I understand they are directly related to each other. Okay. When you have more number of moles, they will exert more pressure. So they have to be equal to each other. It cannot be divided by X, no? Now when I rearrange and write, when I write in terms of X, I get P divided by X. Okay, yeah. Now I hope it is clear, no? Yeah, okay. Yeah, good that you are asking. Just let me know anyone who has a doubt about this. Henry law is clear. It's important also because definition can be asked, even the mathematical expression can be asked. And this kind of problem they ask, okay, especially they ask in 1 mark part where you don't have the option, no. So these questions they will ask like this. See, now I'll give you one question, you try to answer and tell me. See, at a given temperature and pressure, okay, I'll write the question here. I have not written here, it's not there on the screen, I'm writing now. Okay, you try to answer. At a given temperature, see, at a given temperature and pressure, temperature and pressure, okay, if they tell you nitrogen is more soluble in water than helium gas. Nitrogen is more soluble in water than helium gas. Which one of them will have higher KH value? Which one of them will have higher KH value? See, this kind of question they can ask you. Yes, I want everyone to answer now. It is easy to answer, no? Yeah, very good. Yeah, helium. Yes. Good. Helium is the answer. Okay. Because here nitrogen is more soluble then compared to helium. So that means helium will be having higher, inversely related. No, so helium is less soluble actually. So they will have higher KH value. Okay. And nitrogen will have lower KH value. Yes. Or they can give you like how I gave you that table. 3 values will be given and they will ask you which one of these is more soluble. Like that question also can be asked. Okay. So be prepared for the different kind of application type of questions can be asked for 1 mark where you have to think. Now make a note of this quickly, student. Yes, when you raise the temperature, then the gas, when you increase the temperature, okay, the gas will become less soluble. See here, you can see this. When we have increased the temperature, you see here for this oxygen, when temperature was 293, this was the value. But when we increase the temperature, you can see the value has increased. Value has increased means what? Solubility has decreased. Okay, good question, yes. So as you increase the temperature, remember the solubility decreases. Yes, let's go for the application part. Henry's law application. And this is also important, okay, students. Henry's application, 1 or 2 application can be asked. Generally, they will ask you, give any 2 application of Henry's law, okay. So first application is in the production of carbonated drinks. Okay, these aerated drinks are there, no? Carbonated beverages we call. So these, when these are prepared, okay, you know how these are being prepared. They take the pure water, they take the water, they mix the sugar, they add the flavors and everything, and then they will prepare this flavored syrup. Okay, once the preparation of this has been done, and then after that the carbonation part will start. Okay, after that they will send it over there where carbon dioxide at high pressure will be applied. Okay, so they apply high pressure to these soft drinks and then it will be prepared. Okay, so they are sealed at very high pressure. So when you are increasing the pressure, the solubility of that gas also increases. Okay, so you are forcing them to go inside that particular solvent. But when you open it out, like when you open this carbonated drink or champagne or even the beer, you might have noticed that when you open it, you are getting them to a normal atmospheric pressure. Okay, so where the pressure is little less. Inside this container, the pressure is very high. Okay, it may be around 3 to 4 times what we have in the atmosphere. Okay, now if I consider our atmosphere is 1 atm pressure, okay, inside this it will be 3 or 4 times more, remember. Okay, so that much pressure is applied inside and then they are sealed. So when you get them, okay, at the room temp, when you are opening them, you are getting them at the room atmospheric pressure. Okay, in your atmosphere you are getting them at that pressure. So when you get them at that pressure, okay, these gases which were sealed inside, they will try to come into a lower pressure. So when they are coming into a lower atmospheric pressure, they come out in the form of bubble. Oh yeah, that gases which are there, they come out in the form of effervescence. So you can see that vigorous action which you are able to see, that's because of whatever pressure was sealed inside. When you get them to a lower pressure, everything try to comes out. Okay, so here the solubility of the gas will start decreasing because pressure is lower, so solubility also decreases. Okay, so that is the application part. When you are sealing them, okay, when you apply the pressure and seal them, the solubility of that particular gas over there increases. Okay, but when you get them over here at the atmospheric pressure, when you open them, the solubility of the gas, okay, the solubility of this gas decreases here. Okay, so that is one application part of Henry's law. Okay, one is this incarbonation of the soft drinks. Then second application you can see in the deep sea diving. Okay, when these scuba divers, they go for deep sea. Okay, now this, when they do this deep sea diving, you can see here they have this compressed gas behind them. You can see they carry a cylinder. Sorry. Okay, see, you can see here a cylinder is being fixed. So this cylinder consists of compressed gas. Okay, this cylinder is there. No, they consist of compressed gas. Normal our atmospheric gases are compressed and then they are fed inside this cylinder. And you know, in our atmosphere, we have around 78% of nitrogen. Okay, around 21% will be oxygen and the remaining are the other gases. Okay, so this is a composition what is present. Okay, initially I am talking about this was a composition they used to take. So when these composition is taken and these people when they go inside, okay, for diving, atmospheric pressure is lower, but when they are going deeper and deeper, okay, what happens to the pressure is the pressure becomes very high. Okay, as they are going down and down, okay, the pressure is very high. When the pressure is high, what will happen to the solubility? Solubility also will increase, correct? No, so these gases which they are inhaling, that is nitrogen and oxygen, which they are inhaling, the solubility of these gases in their blood also will become very high. Okay, in that oxygen which is there, if oxygen becomes higher, that will be utilized by them for metabolic purpose. But this nitrogen is there, no? If nitrogen becomes higher in their blood, nitrogen basically it's a not reactive chemical. Okay, chemically they will not react with the blood, so chemical reaction won't take place. What happens is the physical condition of the person will be affected. Okay, physically that person will get affected. How? Because these nitrogen at higher pressure, they will form a bubbles. Okay, imagine that if this person from the deep level, if immediately he comes to a lower level, atmospheric level, okay, so that time this nitrogen which is there, okay, that will go into their arteries and you can see a small bubble over here. Okay, this blue color, I hope you are able to see this blue color, small bubbles are there, no? Those small bubbles are of nitrogen gas. So these nitrogen gas will go into the bloodstream and it will get trapped in the form of small gas bubble. Okay, yeah, the deeper they go, more number of gases will get dissolved because higher is the pressure. Okay, so more is the pressure, more number of gases will get dissolved into their tissues and the bloodstream. Okay, and these bubble will block the tissues, okay, which lead to a severe condition called as bends. Okay, this severe condition is called as bends, also called as decompression sickness. Okay, so this sickness is called as decompression sickness. So it can be severe, it can even lead to death of the person. Okay, in severe condition, it can even lead to death of this person. So they try to avoid this bends. How are they trying to avoid is, I said initially they used to take 78% of nitrogen in the cylinder and around 21% was oxygen and little amount of other traces gas. But then since they saw that this problem has been arised in the scuba divers, so what they did is inside the cylinder, they diluted that gas with around 11.7% of helium and they reduced the content of nitrogen. Okay, they made around 56.2 and then the remaining was oxygen. Okay, so this is how the bend conditions can be avoided when they immediately come to the surface. But if they are coming very slowly, see in this case, if they are in the upper layer, the pressure is very less. But as they are going down and down, okay, more number of nitrogen gas will get dissolved into their lungs, okay, into their blood and the tissue. So if they are coming very slowly, okay, slowly if they are trying to come, then these gases which have got dissolved, slowly it will come out and it will go into the lungs and then it can be thrown out. But when they come out immediately, no, then it will create a problem. So slowly it will not create much of the issues. Okay, because that gases as they come up to a lower level, slowly these gases also will be released out from their arteries. Okay, it won't create that much of problem. So this is what is being observed in scuba divers. Okay, so remember, when they go to the lower level, high pressure is there. Okay, as they are going deeper, there is high pressure, so more number of gases gets dissolved. Okay, and this gases, especially the nitrogen which doesn't react, they will get accumulated in the arteries and they create this problem which is called as bends. Okay, this problem is called as bend, also called as decompression sickness. Okay, but if they come very slowly, it won't lead to much of the problem. and we can avoid this bend condition if the container they are taking is diluted. Okay, the divers, they take the tank, if they are diluted with 11.7% of helium, this much of nitrogen and then oxygen. Okay, and this even it is seen in the astronauts. Okay, I gave you one example of scuba divers. Even astronauts, when they are going for spacewalk, okay, compared to their spacecraft and their space station and spacecraft will be kept at the atmospheric pressure itself. But when they are going for spacewalk, there the pressure is very low. Okay, so even they can also be facing this condition of decompression. Okay, so even they are being treated like how I said. For them, no, usually they make them to inhale the gas. Breathing has been done, and then that's how they eliminate the nitrogen which can get accumulated there. Okay, then next one is for climbers. So how here's Henry's law come into picture is when people go for climbing, okay, mountain climbing, when they are going there at higher altitude, the partial pressure of this oxygen, see, as you are going upper and upper, as you go for the higher altitude, you know, the pressure decreases then compared to the ground level. Okay, ground level the pressure is very high. You can see here at the higher altitude the number of gases are also very less, so the amount of partial pressure of the oxygen especially will be very less. Okay, so they will have low concentration of oxygen in their blood and tissues, the one who are going for the higher altitude. And even if the people who are living at the higher altitude, okay, they will also face this problem. The amount of partial pressure of oxygen at the higher altitude is less than compared to the amount of oxygen which is present at the lower level. Okay, so then these people, yeah, temperature is also low, and even this partial pressure of the gases are also very less, so they will face this problem called as anoxia. That happens because of low oxygen. Okay, and they feel weak and they are not able to think clearly, and this condition is called as anoxia. So that's the reason why they carry oxygen cylinder behind their back, so that they get enough of oxygen. Okay, and they are strong enough to face that particular situation. Okay, so this happens in the climbers. So these are the three applications which you have to learn from the Henry's law. Okay, now I'll go for the next topic, that is effect of temperature. So we are going to talk about how temperature affects the solubility of gas in the liquid. Okay, so when gas is dissolved in the solvent, okay, when this gas is dissolved in the solvent, we apply high pressure and we try to dissolve. You have seen in that carbonated drinks I told you, okay, they take a solvent here, and then above this a gas will be taken and you apply a high pressure. When you are applying high pressure, okay, certain amount of heat will be released. This reaction is exothermic reaction. Okay, so when you dissolve the gas into the solvent to form a solution, certain amount of heat is also released during the process. Okay, so if heat is released, and now if you are going to increase the temperature, then what will happen? And it's a sealed container, you know, it's a sealed container, so there will be equilibrium also. Dynamic equilibrium will be there. Okay, once you apply the pressure, the number of molecules going inside the solution and the molecules which are coming back from the solution, that will be in equilibrium at a certain stage. Okay, so now if you're trying to increase the temperature, if I increase the temperature, then what will happen? Yeah, it will burst. Yeah, reason it will burst out, correct. Why it will burst out? If it is sealed. Okay, suppose if you have your soft drinks bottle, okay, and it is sealed, you try to heat them out, it will burst out. Why? Because when you are increasing the temperature, okay, you know that whatever solution is there, they will take up that heat energy. Again, Le Chatelier's principle come into picture here. Okay, see, there is an equilibrium, okay, plus you are increasing the temperature, so they will try to decrease that temperature and they will try to go back in the form of gas and the solvent, correct? So that gas will try to move away far from each other, then automatically it will lead to bursting of that bottle. Okay, but if it is kept open, then whatever gas is present, they will try to escape out from the solution. Okay, like if you open the soda bottle and keep it outside, after some time you see you don't get that taste what you got it before. When they were cold, you will get one taste, and when they are kept outside, there is no gas available, all the gas has escaped out into the atmosphere. Okay, then you see that the taste has gone. Yeah, all the gases will escape, and that sourness also will not be there. So it will become, we say no, chappe chappe it will be, then you don't get that proper taste because only the sugar and the water will be remaining. Okay, so remember, when the temperature is lower, the solubility will be higher, okay, of these gases, because more number of gas will go into the solution. But when you try to heat them, whatever gas was present, okay, in the solution, they will try to go back into the gas and solvent form, and they will try to escape. Okay, they will escape, and then that will lead to decrease in the solubility. Okay, so as the temperature goes up, the solubility of the gas will decrease. Okay, this you have to remember, because the dissolution process which was done, that was an exothermic process. So if you increase the heat energy, they will try to go back in the form of gas and solvent. Okay, so and one more application is there in our aquatic organisms. Usually these fishes or aquatic organisms which are there, they are more comfortable in the cold water rather than in the warm water. Okay, reason is again because of the gas, amount of solubility of the gas. So aquatic organism, they take dissolved oxygen. So in the warm water, when they are kept in the warm water, what will happen? The amount of oxygen which is available will be less, because more amount of oxygen will escape out. And in the cold water, the amount of oxygen which is there, that will be more. Okay, so they are more comfortable in the cold water than compared to the warm water. Okay, that's one application part of it. From here you can expect the question. Okay, if you are thinking what kind of question they will ask, this can be asked: what is the effect of temperature on solubility of gas in the liquid? So you can think of this soda itself. Okay, you don't have to like imagine of chemistry thing. All these are happening in your daily life. If you take the soda bottle, you keep it in the fridge, you will see that more number of gases will be present. But if you keep it outside where the temperature is very high, you will see these gases will escape out. Still, if you try to heat them, nothing will be present there. You can see the gases escaping out. So you can easily tell that as we increase the temperature, the solubility of the gas is decreasing. Okay, so that's all what you are having. So for 1 mark, if they are asking, at least this much understand, and then you can write. Okay, you don't have to by heart anything. And this I told you, even for the fishes, why they are more comfortable in the cold water rather than in the warm water. Because in the warm water, oxygen, the number of oxygen gases will be less, because they will take that heat energy and escape out from the warm water. So then it's difficult, no, for them to breathe. Whereas in the cold water, the number of oxygen which is there, that's little less. The oxygen which is there, that's more. Okay, in the cold water, temperature is less, and the oxygen will be more soluble into that, so they are more comfortable over there. Okay, yes, then we will wind up for today.